Thank you for joining us for Talk with Toni. My guest is Eleanor Gorski, who's Executive Director of the Cook County Land Bank. But before we start talking about the Land Bank, Eleanor, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you for having me here. So I became Executive Director of the Land Bank just in August. I've been in place for a few months, but before that, I had a long career in city government, over 20 years at the City of Chicago Department of Planning and Development. I entered government as an architect, interested in planning and specifically historic preservation. And then leading up to that, I'm a native of Pennsylvania, and I've been
a transplant.
Yes,
like me.
But I've been in Chicago longer than I lived in Pennsylvania. So this, of course, is my home.
All right. So you had a long career in city government in the Department of Planning.
Yeah.
But you did a little academic work, and then you came to us. Is that right?
That's true. I was at the University of Illinois at Chicago, and I was Director of Planning and Design there, and worked on some campus planning as well as the hospitals and some new buildings there.
Okay. What's the role of the Land Bank? I'm not sure that our viewers are familiar with the Land Bank.
So the Land Bank takes property and buildings that are vacant, not producing any economic benefit, not in the tax rolls. We take those properties, we make sure that they are clean in terms of any liens or taxes on them, and then we put them back in productive use. That's the big picture. But in order to do that, we are partnering with local community organizations, nonprofits, municipal agencies in order to fit those vacant parcels into plans that those agencies have and form partnerships with them to ensure that they have the right resources to put those properties back into productive use.
Okay, so your principal role is to return properties to the tax
Correct.
rolls. Okay. And you do that with a variety of partners.
That's right.
All right, now the Land Bank just celebrated its 1,000th rehab, if I remember
Yes.
correctly. Tell us a little about that.
Yeah. So the 1,000th Rehab was a historic greystone on the west side of Chicago, and this was done by one of our local small developers. I believe this was his 12th property at the Land Bank, and by local small developer, I mean that he's a single man shop, and that's who we like to encourage to enter into the market, build up their businesses, and we try to level all barriers to entry for folks doing work on their own in the neighborhoods. And this property was a vacant building that was actually forfeited by a bank to the Land Bank. They decided that they couldn't deal with finding a buyer for it. They wanted us to take the property, which is a way that we do assemble these properties. And we were able to clean out the property, wipe away any liens, offer to the market. We had this developer purchase it. He turned what was a 3-flat into a 2-unit building. So the other thing is we're putting affordable housing back in neighborhoods. There is an income producing unit and an owner's unit now in this building.
Okay, and I've been in it, so it's
Yes.
a beautiful, beautiful old greystone on the west side. We worked in the Land Bank with a lot of small developers. How have we built up that pool?
So the pool of developers, it was very difficult, I would say, and I have to thank my predecessor for the hard work as well as the staff who did this. It was literally going to community meetings, reaching out to developers who were building in these areas and asking them to check out the Land Bank. It started by word of mouth. And then as we've continued, we've asked those developers to spread the word. And now what we're doing is we're holding workshops and breakfasts and having meetings with different finance folks so that we're attracting more and more folks to the Land Bank, as well as we're creating kind of cohorts that can support each other as they build their businesses.
Okay, so we've developed a pool of small business
Yes.
folks. Okay. But if we're going to have an impact over time, we've got to get the larger developers involved. What's our strategy there?
Yeah. So the Land Bank has just about 2,000 properties in our inventory right now. And we have a lot more that we are taking through the process to take the deeds and have them transferred to the Land Bank. So we are expecting our inventory to grow greatly. In order to do this, we need to leverage the good work that, again, our partners are doing. So nonprofits, municipalities, and these larger development entities. it's an ecosystem that all works together because large developers rely on municipalities and a lot of the incentives that they have in order to do their work. So what we're doing now is meeting with these various folks, forming what we call land banking agreements to sell great numbers of parcels to those developers who are then able to build on them with an influx of financing or incentives from municipalities to do that work. And in return, they are supplying affordable housing as well as commercial spaces for small businesses, nonprofits in the communities where that's located.
Okay, so they could do infill housing, or they could
Absolutely.
do larger developments or whatever with land bank resources.
Yes. I mean, some examples, we have a large theater that we're looking at repositioning, and that will anchor a commercial district on the south side of Chicago. We are working with a municipality in the south suburbs who are looking at putting in a new Amazon warehouse, but they need worker housing. So we're looking at both commercial development as well as the housing to support it, and that's in partnership with our partners in the Southland Development Authority. So just two examples of projects we're working on. And then there's infill housing that's also being created by a development entity on the south side of Chicago that would be infill in the Roseland neighborhood. And they're being supported by the Department of Housing with the City of Chicago.
Okay. What do you see what's your vision of the land bank over the next several years?
The land bank, I would like to see us do more and more of these partnerships where we have a great majority of our inventory locked down, and we are now looking at a time frame of when different projects come online, and we have them staggered in different areas of Cook County. And then from those nodes, we can build out and tackle areas that right now may not seem feasible to get that land or those buildings into productive use. But when we generate interest in these nodes that are already working, it can spread to other nodes. And hopefully we get the majority of Cook County covered, I'm hoping, in 10 to 15 years.
All right. So we've talked about the land bank.
Yes.
But this is Women's History Month. Mm-hmm. And clearly you've got an important leadership position in economic development as executive director of the land bank. Kind of who are your role models in the work that you do?
So immediate role models as I was coming up through my career, a lot of women in government actually that have influenced me, of course yourself. You and I have known each other for a long time from when you were 4th Ward Alderman.
Right, and you were in Landmarks.
That's right. I was a young architect in the department starting out. I learned so much from you just about community process and how to work with the community and how important they were. And frankly, that's something that you only learn by doing. There's no way that you can learn that in school or in any other setting but government, in my opinion. But then as I came up through the department, I would have to say that Lori Healy, who was chief of staff to the mayor at the time, she became commissioner of planning, and she's now at the Obama Foundation, was also a mentor of mine, and she's continued to advise me, be a mentor for me throughout my career, and also challenged me. When I say that these women have influenced me, it wasn't always pats on the back. It was challenging and pushing, and I think that makes a good mentor. And then in that same vein, I'm going to mention Alicia Berg, who is also a commissioner of planning, who was a planner, went to Columbia College and is now at the University of Chicago, and again keeps in touch with me. She challenged me. She also supported me in doing some continuing education, which I appreciated and I see the value of, even with my staff today.
Okay, so what advice do you have for young women who might want to be in economic development as you are?
Well, I have to say that young women today, I feel, are very strong and have started out with a greater knowledge of kind of the world and their opportunities than I think I had. So I very much admire them. But the advice I would give is don't give up and believe in yourself and stay true to what you feel is right. And if you have questions, ask them. Don't back down. And specifically for economic development, I would say get as much experience as you can and always say yes when there's an opportunity presented to you. There's never a wrong answer, and you'll gain experience no matter what it is.
Okay, good. Well, listen, thank you very much for joining us today. We're really grateful. And we wish you luck at the land bank.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for joining us for this episode of Talk with Toni.